In Wales today, concern over a cluster of the Indian variant of COVID-19 in the Llandudno area. The Health Minister says it's very serious and could affect the easing of restrictions in Wales. People are urged to get tested even if they don't have symptoms. Hello, I'm Rebecca John. Welcome to Wales Today. The headlines. Good evening, Noswaith dda. There's concern tonight that a cluster of COVID cases in the Conwy area could affect the easing of restrictions in Wales. A further 35 cases of a variant first identified in India, now named the Delta variant, were reported in Llandudno, Llandudno Junction and Penrhyn Bay over the bank holiday weekend. The Health Minister says the cluster is becoming very serious. It comes as £32 million has been given to continue the Test, Trace and Protect programme in Wales until next March. Chris Dearden reports. Well, our political correspondent, Catherine Harve-Jones, is here. And Catherine, the big question, how will this affect the easing of restrictions with this announcement?
As Eluned Morgan pointed out in Chris's piece there, it's also about balance. The point Eluned Morgan also made today was that Wales has a COVID case.
Thank you. The number of deaths involving COVID-19 was 7 in the latest week, according to the Office for National Statistics. These are the lowest figures since early September. There were also no deaths involving COVID in care homes for the first time since October. One of Wales's most notorious murderers is not suitable to be released from prison, according to the Parole Board. 6 years ago, we met Freya Bevan as the toddler and her family embarked on a journey to the United States for specialist treatment on her brain tumour. Sports stars and celebrities had helped to fundraise for the therapy in Oklahoma. But after 6 years in remission at home in Neath, Freya's parents were given the devastating news that her cancer had returned, and they're now back in the US fighting to save her life. Nicholas Smith's been speaking to Freya's mum. A woman with early onset Parkinson's disease says having a benefit payment removed was the worst feeling of her life and left her feeling really depressed. Lindsay Thomas from Bridgend had been given personal independence payment shortly after she was diagnosed at the age of 35. But the payment was removed following a reassessment last year. It was later reinstated, but there are now calls for people with Parkinson's to be given permanent awards because the condition is degenerative. Paul Martin reports. Still to come on the programme. Now, it may be half-term, but there won't be many families across Wales who've jetted off for a holiday overseas this week. But for bosses at Cardiff Airport, the hope is that passenger numbers will start to grow again in the coming months if COVID travel restrictions continue to ease. But travellers are being warned of a very different experience when they start returning to Cardiff Airport. Our business correspondent Brian Meehan is live at the airport for us this evening. Brian. Residents of a small village in Pembrokeshire fear their community will be lost forever as most of the homes are being used for holiday lets. Only 2 out of the 50 properties in Cwm Eglwys now have permanent residents, and a third is up for sale for more than £1 million. Locals say they're being priced out of the market. Our reporter Rachel Garside has spent the day in the village. Let's get the sport news now. George is here, and George, Wales are getting match ready for the Euros.
They certainly are, Rebecca. Thank you very much. And what a test for Wales tonight as they begin their preparations for the delayed Euro 2020.
Before I go, a reminder of our top story. There's concern. And that's Wales Today. We'll be back with our late update at around 10:30 tonight. Until then, from me and all of us on the programme, have a good evening. Goodbye. Hwyl fawr. Noswaith, good evening. There's concern tonight that a cluster of COVID cases in the Conwy area could affect the easing of restrictions in Wales. A further 35 cases of a variant first identified in India, now named the Delta variant, were reported in Llandudno Junction and Penrhyn Bay over the bank holiday weekend. The Health Minister says the cluster is becoming very serious. It comes as £32 million has been given to continue the Test, Trace and Protect programme in Wales until next March. Chris Dearden reports. The latest figures from public. One of Wales's most notorious murderers is not suitable to be released from prison, according to the Parole Board. Football Now and Wales have been beaten 3-0. A look at the weather forecast now. And there'll be a full weather forecast in around half an hour with Sabrina, but that's it from me. Let's go over to Wales Live and Beth Rhys Roberts.